Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Hello, this is the Italian Wine Podcast. My name is Monty, Waldin. My guest today is Federica Mascheroni Stianti from the Castello di Volpaia winery in Radda in Chianti. Hi, how are you?
Good. Closing house, but good.
Closing house? Well, you're not moving out. You're not selling the castle, are you?
No. I mean, it's like most of the time I have to stay here, or luckily have the vineyards. But actually, I spent 3 weeks closed really in house because I got sick. I don't know about what. But I really spent 3 weeks in a small apartment by myself. It was not easy. So I can understand.
So I'll make this a really difficult interview. No, I'm joking. Tell us a little bit about Castello di Volpaia. Where is it and what makes it special?
Volpaia, luckily, is a tiny village in the middle of nowhere. So now we are quite safe because we are in the countryside next to Radda in Chianti. So in the heart of the Chianti Classico area. Is a 12th century village with really a small amount of people living inside. So we are less than 30. So
wow.
A small community. Most of them works for the winery. So somebody's coming from the surrounding, but basically all of them are living inside the village, because we give also to the people that works for us a house to stay with us. So they can live the community of this little village. And so inside of all these different buildings, you have all the different activities. So when you get here in Volpaia, you feel like you are in the 12th century, but then you open the different doors and you find all the different activities.
I mean, this part of Chianti Classico, for those of you that don't know, was one of the sort of central ideological areas in the Middle Ages, in the 1200s, when the the Chianti League was founded, and from that is where Chianti Classico has sprung from, and Volpaia is an incredibly important estate in the history of Chianti Classico. Now, you brought a wine with you today, I hope. What did you bring?
I brought the one that I'm going to present at the OperaWine, unfortunately next year, not this year. And okay. I brought something that comes out from the DOCG of the Chianti Classico, but it's still a wine made from a single vineyard, so very focused on the terroir of the place. And it is the Balifico 2016.
Okay, what is the blend in that? Is that 100% Sangiovese or a mix?
No, it's a mix. It's the only one that goes out from the rules of the Chianti Classico. It's a Sangiovese with 1/3 of Cabernet Sauvignon. So it makes a big difference from the style of from the characteristic of the wines of Volpaia, because the Cabernet Sauvignon gives that intensity and structure to the wine that makes a big gap from the other Chianti Classico Riserva that are much more in elegance and finesse.
Okay, what's the difference in ripening between Cabernet and Sangiovese?
It's totally different. It was, that we have another winery in Maremma, and I was there where the season is only 2 hours by car from here, but the season there is much more further in the time. So there have some Sangiovese and some Cabernet. The Sangiovese, it's already out the leaves, so like this. And the Cabernet Sauvignon is still tiny blossoming, but not really open yet. So starting from the beginning, they are totally different way of growing of the two grapes.
Okay.
And then inside the glass makes a big difference.
So if we go back to Volpaia, you're obviously quite high altitude, and you have a special soil type called Macigno. Can you tell us what that is?
Macigno is a very unique type of soil. It's not very common. It comes from, even if we are very high, it comes from a really deeply part of the land. So it's like a stone that comes from down and came up from big pressure. So it's like a big pressure of the sand. So if you look to that soil, unfortunately, I didn't think to bring with me a stone to show you. That stone is a piece of stone with a lot of pieces of sand. So it's like compressed sand. So it's a type of soil that is very sandy and stony. So this means that you have always a looser soil. And so if it rains a lot, anyhow, it drains very much. But at the same time, it's a very dry season. The plants are already used to suffer the dry season because they're usually used to go down deeply to get the water, and so they are not really suffering too much on the dry season. And so this helps to have like always a little bit of sufferance for the plants, and sometimes the vines needs a little bit of don't be treated too well, and so they can give you the best product at the end.
So with this sandy soil, do you get very, very small berries, small concentrated berries?
Yes, it's a very small concentrated berry, but what it comes out, especially in the wine, I think is a touch of minerality, probably because it gets the water down. So more than the water from the sky, it's much more the water from the ground. Mm-hmm. Yes, and so that is the minerality, and especially is also elegant. So they're not really thick and big wines usually.
Yeah, they're very. I mean, Radda in general is known for its very, apart from its altitude and its central position, easterly position, it's known for its wines that are very fluid. They're intense, but they're not at all heavy or big, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You give it a perfect explanation of my wines. I love you.
I didn't mean to. I'm going to ask you a question about if we walk around the hamlet of Volpaia, and you're talking about these sandy soils, and if the buildings look like they're built with this same sandy soil, is that true?
Yes, that is the nice point when you go to real old places. When you go like in the New World wineries, you find sometimes incredible castles that looks like historical, but they are fake, and not because they has been built recently, but really because it's built with the soil that they are not coming from the place. What is nice in the Chianti area is like if you go around, you find the soil of the place in the stones of the villages. So like if you go to Siena, you find much more clay, and then you find much more bricks. If you come to Volpaia, you find the sandstone, and so the macigno inside the construction of our buildings. So you can read the vineyards, look into the buildings.
Yeah. So just say that word again, macigno.
Macigno.
Yeah, okay. Now listen, you have, tell us what you studied at university.
Not really about wine, but I think it's like art and wine have a lot of connections.
There you go. The Reformation, art and wine. There you go.
What? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Well, like the Reformation with wine and art and all that sort of stuff. So, but you are a professional restorer of ancient paintings and artifacts, aren't you? Go on, just tell us a little bit about that. Go on.
It's it was a passion. It's still a passion of my life. Obviously now with the wine, you don't have a lot of time to do it, and so I don't do anymore anything about restoring paintings and go in the details of the different paintings and surface of the materials. Luckily, I still have a lot of friends in the business, so I can go and sneak in their studios and look to their works. But that basically was my work before. Then I decided. Sorry?
Then wine took over.
Yes,
okay,
then wine took over. Luckily.
Right, thanks for you for coming in today to talk about Castello di Volpaia and the area of Volpaia. And I look forward to having a glass of wine with you and talking about restoration next time we meet. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, really, for your time and your chat with you. Grazie.
Great to see you.
Ciao.
Listen to all of our pods on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Himalaya FM, and on ItalianWinePodcast.com. Don't forget to send your tweets to @ItaWinePodcast.